Because 7 days ago, we all were mourning on Outsiders the death of Charlie Kirk. And today, well, Hollywood leftists are mourning their careers. Specifically, this guy, Jimmy Kimmel, who, you've heard about him, and if you weren't familiar with him before, was until a few days ago an unfunny comedian and general ratings disaster for the American ABC. And as you know, he has been flicked from the airwaves, leading to widespread outcry and even protest, as you see here. More about this in a moment. Now, it is important to know why Kimmel was flicked. And it was, as you know, not just because he said some unkind or unfunny things about Charlie Kirk. I mean, we can all take that, right? But because he said also some really inaccurate things as well.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Yes, that's right. According to Jimmy Kimmel, the guy who allegedly shot Charlie Kirk repeatedly talked about how much he hated Charlie Kirk's rhetoric, a guy whose family said he was becoming more and more obsessed with left-wing policies over the past few years and was in some sort of odd, furry, don't ask, relationship with his transgender housemate. Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of MAGA dude I saw at Trump rallies all across the U.S. last year. Yeah. Anyway, this once upon a time, what Kimmel said, would have once been considered misinformation. You know, the sort of thing our E. Karen wouldn't have liked very much. And Kimmel was, of course, let's point this out, very much against disinformation, or at least he was when he was on a few years ago, the receiving end of some scurrilous, untrue gossip about him.
And as far as the, well, you say things about people all the time argument goes, yes, I do. It's not the same. It's not even close to the same. We say a lot of things on this show. We don't make up lies. In fact, we have a team of people who work very hard to sift through facts and reputable sources before I make a joke.
We have a team of people. We don't make stuff up. We're professional comedians. We're professional late-night comics, of course. But Kimmel, of course, is also a lovely fellow who would never, ever wish ill on anyone except, well, he was happy for Tesla shares to plummet and for Tesla dealerships to be vandalized.
Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so. People have been vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't vandalize, don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so,
yeah. And he even did a whole routine about how much his staff loved Luigi Mangione. Remember this guy? This was the guy who allegedly shot the United Healthcare CEO and who, you know, he was a CEO, so of course he had to die because CEO and capitalism, right?
these are screen grabs of actual exchanges between our members of our staff and their friends, relatives, whatever. I've changed the names to protect the guilty, but let's see. Lorraine C. asks, do you guys think the United Healthcare CEO killer is hot? Friend replies, yes. I love Luigi. I think he's gay, though. This is an exchange between two of our producers. We'll call them Elphaba and Glinda. My TikTok is flooded. My mom chain's going nuts. That's my TikTok. Everyone is obsessed. People are saying a New York jury has the power to find him innocent because we all love him. I'm not mad at him.
So we see the sort of stuff that Kimmel traffics in, but, you know, at least he's not a hypocrite. He'd only be a hypocrite if he and his crew celebrated when someone that they didn't like lost their job.
Fox News has severed bow ties with Tucker Carlson. After all these years, they are parting ways, which means he was fired. I mean, that's really what parting ways means. Tucker couldn't be reached for comment. He's already on a plane to Moscow to meet with his manager. But what a shock. I mean, what an absolutely delightful shock this is.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you? I mean, imagine how the left would scream if a conservative comic or anybody on the right behaved like this. Well, of course, we don't have to imagine because we've seen it from everybody from Roseanne Barr to Shane Gillis, all been canceled or attempted to be canceled. But as far as, let's talk about Donald Trump, well, people are now calling him a fascist because of all of this, because somehow, without evidence, apparently Donald Trump, the left is saying, is supposedly responsible for Kimmel getting the job. Sorry, what? Where's your evidence-based policy there? Because, of course, it wasn't Trump who tried to get a president banned from Twitter. That's what happened to Trump with the left in the pre-Elon days, got him banned so he wouldn't have the reach. That sounds like censorship to me. And the fact is, everywhere you go on the left, you know this, you see this in your daily lives, you see authoritarians on the left calling for censorship. I mean, don't forget, Hillary Clinton, who could have been president, wanted people jailed.
Boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
And remember, though, it's Trump who's the fascist because he complained about a comedian. Meanwhile, CNN's Brian Stelter, who was furious about Kimmel's firing and called it authoritarian. Well, here's how the CNN commentator thought. He was happy to call for restrictions once upon a time on conservative media and Fox News just a few years ago.
But reducing a liar's reach is not the same as censoring freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is different than freedom of reach. And algorithmic reach is part of the problem.
Look, the establishment left, which once upon a time treated the First Amendment, you know, that freedom of speech thing we have in America, and which we could probably use here in Australia, well, they used to treat the First Amendment like Holy Writ, and quite properly, too. But today, they have become absolutely terrified of free speech and pushed for ever greater regulation of people like us and people like you, because they don't want you speaking or hearing the truth. Have a look at this. This is the mainstream left in America.
You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others for providing misinformation out there.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
There are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
If people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block. It's really hard to govern today.
This is a matter of corporate responsibility. Twitter should be held accountable and shut down that site. It is a matter of safety and corporate accountability.
When you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence.
But my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways.
You see, I don't know. I kind of feel like all of this leftist talk, that's where the real authoritarians lie. I actually even think that's where the real fascists lie in all of this. But now, of course, because Donald Trump is involved, well, suddenly any criticism of speech becomes fascist.